Excuse me?
Yes, sir?
Say, what's that tape you're playing?
What's up, hosers, and welcome to the Guest List. I'm your host, Justin Hensley, and this is the show where I invite guests on to make lists. This is a spinoff of the Punk Lotto Pod, and this is the solo show where I invite people on, and we talk about records. Today, we are talking to Catherine, Kai, and Chris of the band It's You, It's Me, and There's Dancing. They're a Portland-based post-hardcore band slash screamo slash emo slash lots of different things. They just recently put out their new EP, Tell Me All About It, earlier this year, and it is easily one of my favorite EPs of the year. Will be a major contender for favorite releases of the year. And they're about to go on tour. They're doing a tour of the Midwest with a little bit of New York and Toronto in there as well. They're playing some festivals as well, and if you live in any of those areas, please check them out. They are one of my absolute favorite bands to come out of the scene in Portland. And today I have them on to talk about their favorite albums. Now, this isn't all-time favorite. This is just a sampling of some of their favorite albums. But it's a really interesting blend of records. Some stuff that I was very, very, very familiar with. Some stuff I was like, oh, I know who that is. And some stuff I knew nothing about. So it's a nice blend of everything. Really interesting batch of albums, a lot of different kind of sounds too. So I'm really excited for you to hear this episode and this really fun conversation. All three of them were in the same room together, so if you hear some weirdness with the audio, it's just the nature of the game. You know, there are three people in a room around one mic. So this is a really fun conversation. Again, I had a blast talking with them, a lot of laughing, and a lot of just like talking about cool records. So I really hope you enjoy this episode, and I definitely recommend you check them out. So without further ado, here's the show. I hope you hate it. All right, so I am here today with Catherine, Kai, and Chris of the band. I don't say it out loud very often, so It's You, It's Me, and There's Dancing. Everyone, welcome to the show. Let's go around so everyone knows who is who. So just say your name, what you play in the band, and that way we can put a voice with the names.
Yeah, I'm Catherine. I play guitar. I play synthesizers. I sing sometimes.
I'm Kai. I play drums.
And I'm Chris with the New Jersey accent. I do vocals for the band, front person.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing the show. I've been a fan of your band for a whole 4 months now. So found you earlier this year with the release of your new EP and loved it, absolutely loved it. You were on the list of people that I was going to reach out to, so this works out really perfectly.
Sick.
So we kind of go basic. I want to go back to the beginning as much as you want to give out, but where are you from? Where'd you grow up? What scene? Are you all from the same place?
I've been out in Portland for a long time now, like over 20 years. I grew up in New Jersey on the East Coast. Moved out here at 18. I've been playing in punk bands and like assorted heavy bands in Portland for like 10, 15 years or so. I guess I know a lot of people in terms of like I run in the same circles as everyone else in the band. We all kind of knew of each other and had played shows and bumped into each other. But yeah, I've been like very active in the Portland punk and screamo scene 10 years or so.
Anything we might recognize?
No. They were all super short-lived. I've had really bad luck. Dancing's by far the like furthest I've made it with a project. I had like a lot of projects that kind of got to like 9 or 10 months working on the first demo, played a bunch of cool shows, and then broke up. I've kind of done that over and over and over again my whole tenure here. And nothing that anybody knows, I promise.
Yeah. Same. I was in like 2 bands and literally no one knows who those bands were. So yeah, I'm in the same boat too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Kai again. I'm not from here, from Portland. I grew up kind of all over, mostly in Richmond, Virginia, though. I moved here around 2010. Moved to Portland 2010 when I was like almost 19.
Wow.
So kind of a similar story to Chris. Been in the scene about the same amount of time. Been in and out of bands and stuff. I was in a garage rock band for a while called Wormbag. We recorded like one thing and did a little California tour, and that was about it before we broke up. And I've been in a few other, like, either power violin, screamo, or hardcore or whatever since then, but nothing really that got off the ground too much either. But yeah, we just kind of all ran the same scenes, had some mutual friends, and, you know, punk houses that we both lived at different times and that kind of thing.
It's awesome.
And I guess I'm the Portland native representative. I'm like born and raised in Portland. I've moved around the Portland metro like a ton, like since I was young. And I like Portland. It's like a hard city to want to leave, though I'm curious to. I'm not like as well traveled as much of the band, especially not these two. But I've played in bands here like since I was, a teenager. I guess like my old band that just occasionally people know is I played in this like screamo emo revival band called Caregiver that was around for a few years and did some like short tours and put out several demos and an EP, including like a posthumous one. And then after that, I played in a band with our mutual friend Drew Clegg in a band called Hard Souls, which is like scrappy pop punk kind of stuff. And I guess I spent a lot of time in that world like around that time. So bunch of that, Iron Chic, fucked up, Reviver stuff that comes from us comes from me, usually.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Drew's great. We had Drew back on, it was a while ago, but he did an episode on Propaganda. We talked about how to clean everything. And Drew was so fun. Yeah, he's such very cool person. Has their own podcast now, too, which is awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Well, when it comes to music, when does it kind of become something, a bit of an identity for you? I feel like a lot of musicians, people who write about music, talk about music a lot online. There's a point where you just obsess over music. So when does that start for you?
I played music. I learned how to play guitar and bass in like high school and stuff, and I had like a couple of bands, or just one band back in Jersey. I like tried a couple of different projects. I think it was when I moved to Portland and started getting more involved and like going to shows and meeting people. When I like started doing vocals, it kind of became like my whole shtick. I really fell in love with like being a front person and like having a sort of like persona. And I'm often told that I'm like fairly quiet and calm, and then people are surprised when they see the performance. They see me jumping up and down and smashing my face in with the mic and screaming.
Doing push-ups.
Yeah. And I always say that that's sort of like why I'm able to be kind of quiet and calm. I think that it's like about as cathartic as it gets to like play live music. And so when I started playing in like screamo bands in Portland and doing vocals specifically, I guess about like 10, 12 years ago was when I like really fell in love with it. And I was just sort of like, oh, okay, this is kind of, like I said, my shtick. This is kind of what I want to do. It's where I'm like, I feel happy and fulfilled. And the work that I do in real life is to sort of like further the persona of like being in a band, being a front person, and being able to kind of like tour and get further with it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for me, I guess music has just always been the only thing, the only thing I've ever been good at is drums and video games, So I like on principle reject identity and like seeing music as an identity, but it's the only thing that I do, right? So like, growing up in like small town Virginia, where nobody's like you and you fucking hate everyone around you. The only thing I could latch onto was music, and I had a drum kit, and like, that's just like as far as it went. From there, like, it's the only thing that has given me any passion or enjoyment, and it's just like the thing that's in front of me, like sometimes we're just given a thing and that's what you do, So like for me, yeah, being in punk and hardcore scenes, and like really feeling affinity with the people community has really been reason for living. So, yeah.
I'm the one-dimensional one, where I think I was like, doing music like in school, in like high school, and I knew I wanted to like play in bands and do something that was like more into my interests. I had a couple of like really transformative shows when I was like 18 and 19, and like kind of the movement from being like into a lot like heavier music and like death metal and deathcore and stuff when I was a little bit younger, mostly because like my peers and friends were into that and I was pulled into it. And as I was like going to my own things and going to like DIY shows, I just had like a really big perception change about like what I wanted to be doing. And I've kind of just done music as like my main thing pretty much that whole time. I talked about Hard Sulks just briefly earlier, but like when I left Hard Sulks, I like took a couple of years off of music, and then pandemic happened, and then once the pandemic was over, I was kind of in like, okay, I'm going to do stuff again. I can't not do stuff now. I had a good enough break that was like extended. I was just going to my first like, I don't know, 4 or 5 shows back at the beginning of 2020, like before everything closed, and it was like, oh, I guess I'm on hold. That's okay. I'll find something else.
Yeah, it's like you took that break, but all you had to do was wait a couple years, and you would have been forced into a break. So
yeah, well, and it was one of those things where like Hard Sulks. When I left Hard Sulks, it was like heavy, so it was like, all right, I need a little space from doing music really seriously for a while, and it was getting back on the horse was intimidating, but like good, but a long time waiting a little bit. But it was good. I'm happy to be back at it. Even if I'm not playing music, I'm like, it's all I do is like listen to music and like play guitar in my spare time. So it's just like it's not just a huge part of my life. It's kind of the only part of my life.
Well, that's awesome. You're in kindred spirits here, because I am thinking and listening to music constantly. Like, there's never a point where I'm not thinking about music in some way. So, yeah, I'm right there with you. You touched on it a little bit. The band came together. I guess you knew each other through the local scene. Was it just one day one of you decided, hey, let's start a band?
So it's funnier now that I think about it. So I had a really short-lived project that I played in with our other guitarist Felipe before It's You, It's Me, and There's Dancing. And that band fell apart, but me and Felipe wanted to still play music together. We were like, we're going to start something new, right? And I asked my coworker and mutual friend Marina, who linked me and was like, hey, I think Chris would be a really great vocalist. You should link up. And we kind of went, oh, we vaguely know each other. That sounds cool. We're down. Funny enough is that now Marina is in It's You, It's Me, and There's Dancing. She is our third guitarist. So it's funny that works that way, that she linked the rest of us, basically. And then Chris
joined later.
And then joined later.
So yeah, maybe me too, yeah.
Chris knew Kai and got Kai involved.
Well, wasn't there like a Lunar Rain connection somewhere there?
No, I didn't know Lunar Rain.
Oh,
No,
it
I was like, we need a drummer, and...
Did you contact me directly? I thought somebody else linked this. I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was just, I need a drummer, you're the drummer I know.
You're the drummer. Oh, yeah, fair enough. It's like, everything's like pretty fuzzy for me. Yeah. So and you brought me in, and then they got a hold of you, and you got a hold of me. Yeah, okay.
And then Kai, you knew Jacob, who was our first bassist.
Yeah, from work, yeah.
Yeah, you knew each other separately, and that was kind of how it was. Everyone had like some connecting thread that brought us together and started slowly collaborating on music. And
yeah.
And then the lineup has shifted over time. Dylan now plays bass in the band. Marina has since joined the band, and that's the standing lineup.
Yeah, 6 of us.
Yeah, when I first saw the band photo, I saw, oh, that's a lot of people in this band. That's cool. And it's like, oh, a triple guitar band. That's rad. There's not enough triple guitar bands.
Guitars, ideally.
Yeah, my that first Titus Andronicus record, I just want the rehearsal to look like that when it's done, where there's like 25 guitars piled up. Like that's the goal.
Just keep adding people to the band until you have to have a bus to take everybody to a show.
Yes.
Well, that's exciting. So you put out an EP in 2024, I believe, and that was called If You Love Your Friends, Tell Them, which I guess was your debut. And I noticed there's a little bit of a shift in your sound from that EP to the new one that came out this year. So what can you tell me about that first EP, recording, stories, or anything like that?
Life hurts.
I think it was really truly just like the first batch of songs we wrote when we started. Like our first show, the set was that EP front to back in that order, and it kind of started the trend where like we do a lot of like seamless stuff where there's like feedback that connects things. We take it even more serious in like a live setting, but that was the first songs we worked on. It was just kind of the blueprint for what we were doing, and as we did those songs, we figured out what we wanted to lean more into, less into. It was, it was kind of a discovery process for us. I think of it as it like set a lot of the groundwork of we really like these things we're doing. We don't need to do so much of this. We can walk away from that. It was definitely like a lot punkier. I was like a bigger influence on that. We weren't as like connected into like I don't know, emo world, and we just were like, oh, actually, this seems to be who like responds to what we do. Like people seem to get this, and we're like happy to like lean into that, I guess. Like we're happy to lean a little heavier. We're happy to lean a little bit more aggressively as a band writing, and also like we're happy to do that. We're happy to engage our fans, like make music that is fun for the people who want to listen to it too.
Yeah, I also just think the like philosophy and spirit behind the music was like really informed by like a 2 period there where like we were all like going through a lot of shit. Our lives were falling apart, and we kind of just had each other, and so like kind of that like reflects a little bit, and like there's like an element of hope in the music, but also a lot of like ouch, like fucking white knuckle, like that kind of like I feel like was naturally influenced by like all of our own personal struggles and like sharing it with each other and moving through it together.
I feel like the first songs are a starting step for that, and Tell Me All About It, the follow-up. We call it an album most of the time, whatever, we don't care about format, you call it whatever you want. But like that is the one where it's really obvious, I think what you're saying is like that is the writing done as product of like being a band for a year and like knowing each other and like
leaning on each other a lot and stuff.
There is a big difference in the sound, because you're right, that first EP, because I listened to both of them again right before we recorded, and the first one is definitely on the punkier, lighter, I wouldn't even say it was light, but it's just more punk leaning. But when I listened to the new one, I was like, okay, there's more hardcore in here, there's more screamo in here. I'm sure adding members too probably, helped make that sound even bigger too. So it's a cool progression.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I also think in like the very beginning, I think there was like a pretty strong push to like get up and running and play shows. Like at least that's the way that I think of it. And like I don't know, I've done it a lot with bands. I know that I'm like a huge proponent of just like don't think too hard about like your first demo. Just kind of like find out how you all mesh together and like write a couple of punk songs, play some shows, and kind of like figure out like how you interact with each other and how you interact with like your community and the scene. And like I feel like it took us a little bit of time to like find our stride. Like we got to know each other musically with those like kind of like simpler like songs, for lack of a better word. And then we were like, oh, okay, so I can tell you're really into this, and like, oh, you really like Block Party, huh? And like, but we kind of want to be a little bit faster. We want to be a little bit heavier. And I think we really took our time, a lot more time and effort with the second one to like, oh, okay, now we know what like dancing is supposed to sound like. It's not just like us as a group playing some punk songs. It's like now we've got the ratios a little bit out.
Yeah, I think that too. It's like a window of self-discovery of like getting songs that we like out and doing that was important, and then shaping the pieces from there, from like, I don't know, everything around what we did. Like I always think of it as like a way of describing it, that we're like a really community-driven band, where I'm like, when we like see what we're into, what we want to lean into, what we like when we see other bands doing things, like what do we want to be doing with what we're doing, and like lean into everything that we want to be doing.
Yeah, like, oh shit, that band's doing that. That shit rips. We should do something a little bit like that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense too. Like, not every band is going to sound the same from their demo to their first bigger release or first record. All the time I'll look back at a band's early stuff and be like, okay, you can see the, what they become maybe is there, like the bones of it are there. But yeah, it's always cool to see how a band kind of figures out their whole sound, and it feels like you may have found your new sound or in what you're doing with this EP, because it's awesome. Like it came out in February, and I don't remember exactly where I found it. I do a lot of like blog hunting on Fridays when new music comes out, so I'm not sure if you came across my feed that way, but I saw the art, the name was eye-catching, which we could talk about that in a second, and I was like, that's interesting. And I don't know if I saw a good like for fans of comparison, but when I turned it on, the first thing that like jumped out to me was like, I don't know if they're necessarily an influence, but I hear similarity to Bear vs. Shark, who's like one of my all-time personal favorite bands. And there's so few bands that really do sound like them that I was like, whoa, this is different. This is special. And so I stuck with it. And I was like, okay, there's a lot of other stuff going on here. You're not doing a one-for-one copy of their sound for sure. I don't even know if they're an influence for you, but that's what jumped out to me at first to hook me. And then I was just in love with the EP. And it's like one of my favorite things that's come out this year. It's such a great EP. I recommend everyone check it out if you dig more post-hardcore with like a harder emo, not necessarily like a super screamo-y, but there's some elements of that too, feel to it.
It's a lot of a little bit of some
We're
things.
like a pretty in-between band where we like don't quite fit in any particular scene.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, what else? And there's other things in there that I can hear, but I was like, wow, this is not just a genre. You know, it's not just a straight screamo record or a straight hardcore record. Post-hardcore is like a perfect term for it because that can kind of mean a lot of anything.
Yeah. It's a good catch-all. Wide net there, yeah.
Yeah. It's post-hardcore. It means it's hardcore with extra stuff.
And
but,
kind of weird, probably.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, you're just figuring out your identity too, so that's really cool. I did want to ask about the name, though. So I know it's a reference to Los Campesinos song, right? So what was the choice going into that? You know, why... It's a lot of exclamation points in a band name. And
it's long and it's hard to say.
We wanted something. I mean, I think I know I used the word pretentious pretty specifically. Of like I kind of wanted a pretentious name. Like I love the like I wrote haikus about cannibalism in your high school yearbook. Like that school of like screamo and like, oh yeah, you write 4 songs, then you break up, and like the name of the band is longer than your discography. Like I love that crap, and I think I pushed for that pretty hard. I think we wanted something that was like an exclamation. Like we talked about like full lines of literature. The second choice was like guys.
It was from Roadside Picnic. It's like the final words. It's happiness free for everyone.
And let no one be forgotten.
And let no one be forgotten. Yes.
That was almost our name.
That was almost our name. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when it's funny, we were just talking about like as we're talking about music as a band, we had like a big conversation about like leaning into things, what we want to be doing, and there was just like this funny collective conversation about a couple of bands, one of which we'll talk about today, that we're like, oh, we actually all like a lot of this like more angular like UK indie rock stuff, which brought up Los Campesinos, and everyone goes, oh, I love Los Campesinos. And we go, oh, I bet they'd have a cool line that would fit the energy that we want, and just kind of found our way into it. I think it was Chris who brought it to the table.
I think so too. Yeah.
Once it was there, it was like, oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
like
names
the
like
nexus
that.
of shared interests. Sorry.
Yeah, I love names like that. Like, you know, one of my favorite bands is Please Inform the Captain This is a Hijack. You know, just sentence band names. I love them.
Yes.
They're so fun. But I also imagine there's probably like a frustration when it comes to like flyers and things like that, where you're just like, all right, you didn't have all our exclamation points. You didn't have our right capitalization. You forgot a word. You know, like.
My absolute favorite is playing a show and like the band goes through thanking the other bands and they fucking can't figure it out on stage, and then they just give up and move on.
the most like telltale pause of like, yeah, that's right, we're playing with so and so, and then we're playing with you and I dancing, and
you're dancing and I'm dancing.
You know, whatever, they were sick. You know.
But really, though, when you see it written down, it does catch your eye. So it's not necessarily a bad idea to have a name like that. So I commend it. Yeah. So the new EP was released on 2 labels. You have Oliver Glenn and Slowdown Records. We can start with Oliver Glenn. I don't know much about them. How did you get involved working with them?
So they were actually recommended to us by Slowdown.
Okay.
To also work with, which was the like first thing, is that Slowdown was involved first. and they were going to do a little bit of a more limited run.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, hey, we'd like to do more with it. It might be good to have Slowdowns in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I love Slowdown
well,
records.
they had reached out and were interested in working on it after the first EP came out. They're like, hey, I'd love to work with you on whatever comes next. We were like, hey, well, we'd like to do more physicals. We'd like to do more stuff with it. And they linked us up with Oliver Glenn, which worked out really well because they were in the process of putting out another band from here's record who were pretty close with Pretending. They put out a record with Oliver Glenn right before ours came out. And we have literally rented their van for every other
that's
tour.
They've let us use our tour van, and they're good friends of ours.
So it really well linked up. And then Oliver Glenn, especially with them, is we've been pretty close with them since we started. They're really, really friendly. They were originally based out of Florida, but they've since moved up to Michigan. And we'll see them on the tour. I'm really excited to, actually. But they've just been super, super cool with us. They've
awesome.
They've been really nice. They've been really great about taking liberties of let us do tapes, let us do this, let us hook you up with bands when you're trying to do tours, let us give you a place to stay. They've been really amazing to us.
Yeah. And their tapes are really cool. I like them a lot. The splatter and they've just done really high quality work, and it's been great.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Slowdown. They one of the coolest labels around because it's a Norwegian based label. Puts out a lot of Scandinavian music, but also puts out a shit ton of Japanese emo, which is phenomenal.
So this is how I knew of them: is they put out What Goes Up from Japan, who I really like, and was oh, that's sick. I've always wondered where the connecting threads for stuff is. Where I'm I knew them because they put out some of the Letter Bomb stuff, and they put out which is European. I forget where they're from exactly. That band's really great, and they put out What Goes Up, and these bands are real heavy, blackened screamo and pop punk, and I'm I love both these bands, and Slowdown does both of them.
Yeah, great label. I love it. It's very cool. And now I remembered that might be where I actually ran across you because I follow Slowdown on socials and the Bandcamp stuff. So you probably popped up in my email that morning, and I was just Slowdown, give it a listen, and fell in love with
Marius
it.
with Slowdown is very nice.
Yeah,
very cool person, huge music fan.
Yeah,
that's the fantasy for me. I want to start a record label and do stuff like that, tapes, CDs, small run stuff. I don't have a vinyl budget. I do a free podcast. I make no money doing this, and my wife would kill me if I was I gotta start a record label. And so I want to do something small runs and tapes and stuff. And what Slowdown does is perfect because I would love to get stuff from other countries that doesn't have distribution in the U.S. Yeah, that's so cool. Well, you have a tour coming up. You don't have to run down every date, but you can if you want to talk about generally where you're going or what some of the shows are looking like shaping up for you.
Yeah, it's kind of, I keep calling it the Midwest Triangle. We're all basically meeting up in Louisville, but we don't play it till the end. But we're going from Louisville from the most southern point. We're going up to Rochester, New York for the most eastern point. We also hit Toronto while we're up north, and then we're going to go out towards Milwaukee. And kind of a bunch of stops between there. We're doing a couple of shows in Ohio, Columbus and Cleveland. We're doing Rochester, and then we're doing a show in Detroit. We're doing Chicago. We're doing Indianapolis. Just a whole bunch of stuff in that little triangle, basically.
And the New Friends Fest in Toronto.
Yeah, New Friends Fest in Toronto is kind of the reason we
started the whole thing. Yeah,
yeah, we planned the rest of it around that. Basically, they asked us about that, however many months ago, and we were like, well, if we're gonna go.
Yeah,
we might as well play a bunch of cities where people have asked us to be, or where we know, the scene's active. People might be interested. So make a trip out of it.
No, that's exciting. I'll definitely make sure to include a link to all your socials. So if you live in any of those cities or you want to check out some of those dates, listeners, please check those out. Go check out the band live. I have a feeling, I haven't seen you live, but I have a feeling you probably have a really fun live show. With all these people, it's going to be entertaining. Well, cool. Well, now we all kind of know you a little bit. We know a little bit of your backstory and about the band. We can get into the list portion of the show. So, regular listeners, this is the show where I invite guests on to make lists, and I give everyone a prompt, usually a few options to pull from. And you went with the favorite category. Now, favorite can mean anything. We don't have to, get into are these your definitive all-time favorites? Or if not, we don't want to talk about them. No, I don't care. Just if you like the record, we'll talk about it. So you each chose 3. So this will be the most we've done on here because I've done, I think 6 was the max on this. So we'll see how how long do we go on these? But
we can keep some brevity, you know.
We'll keep it brief. Yeah.
So we can go around the room. Whoever wants to go first can go first. Whoever first record. What do you want to talk about?
I can go first. My first pick will be Ronert Park from the band Ceremony. I've always been kind of a hardcore dummy, kind of a hardcore kid, and Ceremony was like really important to me. I really love the. I think the reason that I picked Ronert Park and I like keep coming back to it kind of year after year is I feel a lot of affinity with how that band has kind of like changed in their kind of like tastes and sound over the years, and it's kind of gone right along with me. When I was in high school, I found Spaz, the band Spaz, like unrelated, and it kind of changed my outlook on everything. I was just like, I don't want to listen to boring music ever again. And it kind of shaped a lot of my personality, like a lot of like power violence and grindcore stuff. And I love the like early Ceremony. But then Ronert Park also has this like, it sounds like it could be like a missed like Dead Kennedys record. And Dead Kennedys and that kind of punk, like spiky hair punk, was like really important to me as a teenager. But then this kind of shift into like post-punk and growing up and like more kind of like adult like themes, and like I really think that like the like lyricism is really strong on Ronert Park. Like I think it has like a very hardcore delivery, but when they're talking about things like anxiety and isolation and like your place in the world, but like delivered through this like very like direct hardcore filter. Yeah, it follows a lot of my path of being this kind of like dumb hardcore kid, like crowd killing people at Converge shows, and then kind of slowly kind of growing up and being like, oh no, like, you know what, maybe I like other kinds of music too, and maybe I want to play music myself, and maybe I want to like learn and be open. And I don't know, Ronert Park just kind of occupies this like weird central space for me of like so many things that I care about and how my tastes have changed over.
Yeah, I resonate with that too. Ronert Park was huge. Like, I found Ronert Park and like band Punch at kind of the same time that like just threw me straight into power violence. You know, and it was just like.
Well, I like talking about Ronert Park too because when we did that first EP, it was kind of the like production blueprint. So it sits really strong in my heart of like thinking it's like like that was a record we've talked a lot about as a band too.
Yeah, I love that record. It was, I think it was the first new Ceremony record that had come out when I had gotten into them, because I'd listened to the first two, I think, and like a bunch of the EPs, and I was like, this band's really cool, super fast, you know, I really love that, like really quick stuff. And then when Ronert Park came out, I was like, what happened? What are they doing? Like, they're doing like a Minutemen record here. Like, this is wild. Like, that tone was so cool. And yeah, it blew me away. I just fell in love with that record too when it came out, and I'm such a big fan of that brittle guitar tone sound. It's so cool and unique sounding. I love it so much. We had a bass player, Andy Nelson, on the show a while back when
Very cool.
we were talking about. Oh, we were doing Open City because he plays in that band too, and it was him and Dan Yemin. Really fun conversation where Dan had to whisper on the phone quite a bit because like it was at night and like half his family was asleep, and he like went outside and it was cold at night. It was really funny. Just to I forced Dan Yemin to like
episode.
Forced Dan Yemin to stand outside in the cold just to talk to me on a podcast. Well, awesome. All right. Well, anyone else got another pick? You want to go?
Yeah, I'll talk about Japandroids' first full-length Post Nothing.
Huge record.
And, yeah, Japandroids is a funny band for me, where I, like many people, I really just love their first two records, and I really love specifically Post Nothing. I don't think that its follow-up has anything on it for me. That's my favorite record of all time, is Post Nothing.
Wow.
And, which is funny, because I was introduced to the band in high school, but it didn't, like, I liked them, but it didn't, like, click with me to such an extreme extent. And then, I don't know, just, like, you know, just a handful of years ago, I kind of discovered Post Nothing was like, this is everything I want from, like, it's immature, high-energy punk, like, shoegazy. I hear the term shitgaze get used. It probably opened my mind to that term. And I go, finally, like, it's everything I like about shoegaze without being slow and boring. And it's, like, fun. It has, like, kind of dumb lyrics that are not,
about
like...
French girls.
Yeah, songs about girls and songs about just, like, being chaotic and, like, having fun, but it's not presented with that at all. I find, like, the guitar sounds are fascinating, and they sound like they're a six-piece band while being a two-piece band, and on that record, it just all hits home for me, it's so high energy and fun, and not overly complicated, but, like, every musical decision is exactly right to me. I'm like, yes, I love the structuring, you don't overcomplicate it. Some songs can just be one big riff, like in, like, Heart Swells. It's, like, basically one riff the whole song, changing the dynamic back and forth. Like, I love that kind of thing. Yeah, I just love, like, every little decision about that record.
Yeah, that record was so fun. When it came out, it was special. Like, it was a big deal when that album came out, because they came out of nowhere. And the name and, like, that stark, you know, black and white cover just, you know, caught everybody's attention, and it was so fun. And I feel like everything they did after was just like them trying to reiterate on that same first record, and like it never quite hits the same way, because that first one is just so good. It's easily the best thing they did for me.
What's the name is escaping. That second record, I feel like people love that record too, and I like it, but it being introduced to that one first never clicked with me the way it was once I finally heard, like, Post Nothing. I was like, oh, this is that album with, like, all of the fluff cut out. Like,
was that Celebration Rock?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The word celebration was in my mind, but I couldn't remember the full name.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good record, but yeah, not quite the same thing. Yeah. Cool. Who's next?
Yeah, I'll talk about Jeff Rosenstock Post a little bit here.
After the storm breaks, fluorescence radiates off skin, overflowing with blood. shit day. Can't power through the haze. I'm tired of waiting for it to be over. Let's go back to Melba. We can start over because mistakes got forgotten. Dreams can be remembered.
I don't know that any of my picks are like my all-time favorite, but they're just like ones I really wanted to talk about and influenced me in some way. And like post, like, well, first of all, Jeff Rosenstock, huge influence on me since I was a teenager. Like, Bomb the Music Industry came through town in Richmond, and like all of his members had bailed, and it was just him. And so my friend's band who was opening was a ska band, like just played his songs for him because they already knew him. And so he was like, okay, you're my band now. And then he was like spray painting t-shirts in the fucking parking lot for everyone. Like, you know, like that. And like the name too, like Bomb the Music Industry. I was like, fuck yes. And like, this is like weird and ska and noise and synthesizers. And his voice sounds like shit, but he doesn't give a fuck about it. He's just saying everything he wants to say with every ounce of his being. And like, to me, that was like so fucking punk. I was like, this is like, yeah, I want to do that, you know? So like, I don't know, that he in general was a big influence on me, and Post specifically, I don't know like how it ranks in popularity with Jeff Rosenstock bands, but for me, I liked it more than some of the more popular albums or releases because of the like specific blend in that album, or maybe it was just the time of my life and my association with it, but there's this energetic frustration and despair. Like, he's fucking sad. He feels defeated. But he, like, has all this energy and, like, frustration, right? Like, he still wants to do something about it, right? And so the lyrics through that, like beating his head against the wall, like, your voice getting stuck inside your throat, like, all this stuff of feeling like, I can do something, but I don't know what, you know? Like, that whole thread through the whole album is, like, how I feel most of the time about everything. So to me, like, that album is, like, really cathartic to listen to. I'm like, I don't think it's the best one, but it's the one that, like, makes me feel like somebody fucking gets me, you know, where I'm like, ugh, you know, like, fuck, shit, you know? So I guess, yeah, that's why I picked that one.
Yeah, I haven't spent a ton of time with Jeff's solo records, but I remember that Bomb the Music Industry DIY attitude that they had. And I know they played in Charlotte, and it was one of those shows where it's like, bring your instruments, you know, those kind of shows. Because like anybody could just show up with an instrument and play with them. And yeah, the spray painting the shirts in the parking lot. Yeah, that's a really fun DIY kind of thing to, like, one, you're selling merch. One is kind of custom too, so it's like smart, right? You know, you have like a one of one, really, even though it's probably a stencil. But what I also love about the record is the band. Like, Jeff Rosenstock has one of the most stacked bands with like a lineage of people that have like so many incredible records. Like Mike Huguenot from like Shinobu and Hard Girls is like one of my all-time favorite guitarists, is like on most of Jeff's solo records. And like Dan Potthast from MU330, you know, this one's got Laura Stevenson, Chris Farron, like so many like incredible musicians. And that really does speak a lot to him as far as, you know, all these people want to work with him, you know. Yeah. Really well-known people want to work with them. And I know they're doing like a week-long thing in Chicago right now or something like that? Yeah. One of those never-ending things they do. I forget what they call those.
Yeah. I love the like weird show formats that he's been doing where he's like, yeah, I'll play like fucking a week of shows in the same venue so that like if it sells out, you can just get the next day. Or like, we're going to do a double set with Pup where we all just make one big band and play both band songs, or like shit like that, where I'm like, that's fucking tight.
All right, well, that's our first round, and I will say it was interesting because I was looking at your picks, each pick, and there was, each one of you chose a record that I knew really well already. Then you each chose a record from an artist I knew, but I didn't like know the record super well. And then you each chose a record from an artist I knew nothing about. So it's kind of amazing how you all did that perfectly. Cool. I don't know if it was planned or not, but you have no idea what I don't know. So
yeah, we're tryhards. Yeah,
we're leading you into the unknown.
Yeah. All right. Well, who wants to go next with their next pick?
Yeah, I'll talk about Our Borlax by Horse the Band.
bunnies, twitching, gurgling, forget the bombs in your eyes! Roaring with whispers, tiny bunnies, smash those fucking bunnies! Roaring with whispers, tiny bunnies, smash those fucking bunnies! Seven information and a sensationalist man. They corrupt! Heads snapping and misspelling, eyes twitching in response to the sound of the words.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I was really into going to hardcore shows and just kind of whatever shows would come through. I grew up in suburban South Jersey. We'd get hardcore bands that would come down from Philadelphia, and dudes in long sleeve behemoth shirts would just like beat the living crap out of all the like 16-year-old suburban kids, myself included. I saw like the wildest like people kicked in the face and trash cans thrown, and like New Jersey 2003 Philadelphia hardcore band just like unleashed upon the like skating rink. And I really liked the energy of that. Like I was a pretty like angry teenager, and I really liked going to these shows, but I didn't really feel like I was a part of it. I didn't really find like kinship with these people that were beating me up. And so I was like, I knew I was on the right path. I was like, I want energetic music. I don't know about this like rock and roll crap that people have been talking about for 70 years. You know, like I want new, fresh, exciting, cathartic. And I think Horse the Band was like really, really kind of vilified when they came out, especially by like the hardcore community. There was just this idea that it was like, is too silly, is too whimsical, is like the incorrect engagement with the genre. And so people that were really into hardcore didn't like Horse the Band because it wasn't hardcore enough. And people that didn't like hardcore also didn't like Horse the Band because there was like breakdowns, and it was the sort of like energetic, like violent music or whatever. And I think Horse the Band like really kind of helped me figure out, especially the vocalist, like the delivery on the vocals. It kind of planted seeds in my head that like you really can make like the exact kind of music that you want to make. And that idea didn't really occur to me as a kid. Like I felt like music had like a lot of like rules and structure. And like if you want to be in a good band, you got to do it this way. And if you want to be popular, you got to do it this way. And if you want people to listen to you, if you want people to care, if you don't want your mom to make fun of you, then you know you should probably have your band sound like this. And like Horse the Band really broke that down for me in a way. They were my absolute favorite band for a really long time, just in the sense of just like you can really tell that they were making the exact music that they wanted to make. Like it was just a bunch of nerds that liked heavy music, and they were like, yeah, but we want it to sound like Nintendo games, and we want it to be this like candy colored and like whimsical and like downright silly at times, but still like really, really heavy and technically proficient and energetic. And yeah, they've been a constant influence, and especially the vocalist of just like, oh, just can't sing for shit, but like just giving it 100%. And that's like always how I've described myself, of just like I'm running on pure charisma. There's no talent here. It's just I'm just giving it my all, and like what you get is what you get. And that's not an insult by any means to like my favorite band. It's just that's how I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they came out. It was the thing. It was to call them like, oh, that's that Nintendo core band, and it was always funny to like. It was always like really reductive too, because like if you listen to this record, yeah, there is a lot of that like 8-bit chiptune type stuff on there, but it's also way more hardcore than it is the Nintendo stuff. Like that's just kind of like sprinkled in the album. It's not the overall sound of the record. So yeah, I remember it being kind of reductive at the time, and I also had a buddy. He was jamming with some guys for the first time, and they were talking about like what they wanted it to sound like, and the guitarist was getting mad at him because he was playing drums, and he was like, play stuff more like Horse the Band. He's like, I don't listen to that band. I don't know how to play like them. Like, what are you talking about? But I always think of them whenever I think of that story whenever I think of Horse the Band. But this record was fun. I had never listened to this one before. I'd heard songs from them before. mainly back in the day, but because we sound like we may be roughly around the same age. So yeah, it was like I said, it was harder than I thought it would be, because I definitely thought it was more of that sound, the Nintendo sound, but it was a fun record. I was really impressed with what they put together with that album. All right, who wants to go next?
And the next album I'll talk about is Designing a Nervous Breakdown by The Anniversary. And a big thing about that album for me is not only that I loved it, I love a lot of that like 90s emo stuff. It's real pop punky and fun, but it's like really important to me is I always call it my keyboard Bible, as I've always wanted to play keyboard and add keyboard to a band. And I've said that if I do, I just want it to sound like the keyboard in All Things Ordinary from this album. So that's been like my exact blueprint. Like, I want to have it sound like that. I want to do those things with keyboards. I want to like strive to do that. And I'm nowhere on that level of like nuance or complication as a keyboard player. I only started playing keyboard during this band for this band, which it was like a conversation early on, but it's not on like the first EP. There's no keyboard yet. Though we started playing with it live at different points. We even play some of those songs where I play keyboard instead of guitar now. So they're different in a live setting. But that album is just like really cool to me. It's really influential to me. I love their songwriting sensibilities. I like the whole flow of that album. It's really like sappy. It's it just like hits a lot of things I really like. That it's like sappy but bright and fun, and has really really like beautiful layers and textures with like not overly heavy guitars. There's two vocalists, which I think makes like every band a better band when you have two vocalists who are both doing a lot of different work and like sound really different. It just makes me really, really love that record. It's really like stuck with me since discovering it a long time ago.
It's a great record. I don't listen to it as much as I should, because when I listened back to it, I was like, man, it's been a long time since I've heard it. But it like right away, I was like, oh, that's right. This was a great record. Why don't I play this more often? Like, I think the first time I heard it was when I found out there was an emo band from Asheville called Muscle and Bone, and I learned that their name comes from like the song on this record, and that's when I listened to them for the first time, and I was just like, oh, this is great. Like it's from that little era. It's like the same time period as like Get Up Kids doing Something to Write Home About, or the I lost them. They're in my head and I lost them.
Something to Write Home About was almost my pick instead, because I love that record.
Yeah.
I just feel like I haven't shut up about the Get Up Kids in 7 months, so I didn't need to keep talking about them today.
I love that record. Like, that record is so good. I was thinking Dismemberment Plan, too. You know, they had a lot of like electronics in their sound, too.
That's another really great band, yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine Core.
Catherine.
Is it emo-y? Does it have synths in it? I'm on board.
Does the guitar... Are they doing guitar, like, panic chords just a little bit? Like, even just a little bit. We talked about Bear vs. Shark early on. I was like, oh, yeah, I love Bear vs. Shark.
Oh, yeah.
They're not a band
so
we
good.
talk about a lot, but I love Bear vs. Shark.
I was listening to them talk about it on the podcast, and like they're a 3-guitar band now too. So, you know, there you go. There's a little bit similarity there.
Fight to the death, I guess.
Yeah, I love this record. It's such a fun album, and it reminded me to listen to it more often because it is a really great album. All right, I believe. Are we going back around yet?
I think.
Kai's on her second.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yes, Kai, go ahead. What was your second pick?
My second pick was Zegota, Movement in the Music.
Okay, Catherine, I think, is the one I've been talking to, right?
Uh-huh.
And when I got the list and I saw Zegota, I'm pretty sure I was like, fuck yeah, Zegota. Holy shit, nobody talks about Zegota.
I said this.
That was when I knew I was going to have a good time on the podcast. Is when I heard that. It's like nobody fucking knows that band, you know?
No one knows that band.
Nobody knows that band.
From Green...
Because, like,
I don't know that
for
band.
me, like, I lived in Asheville for, like, 3 years, like, 2009, 2011. And so, like, I was really... That's where I got really exposed to, like, the Crime Think records, kind of, like, Neurosis and, like, all these post-hardcore bands that were in that area specifically. Like, it's a really isolated scene, right?
Mhm.
Like, it takes, like, 2.5 hours to drive to Atlanta, and that's where you go for, like, quote-unquote big shows. Like, sometimes bands come to the Orange Peel, like, this is really isolated, so people are just doing like their own fucking thing out there, like a lot of anarchist influence and stuff. So Zegota, to me, like the instant I heard that record on some, I don't even know where I found it. Like it was not on a streaming service, you know. Like, I was like, what the fuck is this? What are they doing? Listen to the drums. Like if you want to, like, it's a drummer pick, right? Listen to the fucking drums on that record. It is fucking sick. Like, it rips. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. I don't even know the names of the songs because the only thing I can listen to it on now is, like, a YouTube link to the full album.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't list the tracks. So, like, whatever. But they're doing kind of, like, they've got, like, a Refused kind of thing going with, like, monologues and, like, weird stuff in between songs, too. And, like, it's got kind of the same energy there. But, like, they just go way harder. And, like, some of the build-ups are, like, just, like, with the bass line that goes for a long time. And, like, guitars all muted, like slowly building up into like some crazy fucking like heavy riff, you know, like it's a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, so I'm from North Carolina, and the whole like Crime Think scene is like a really, really big deal to me. I came to it after it was like most of the bands were broken up and like had moved on, or like, you know,
Right.
Catharsis had gone on hiatus for like a really long time. And like I was so fascinated with Zegota because they were such an interesting sounding band to begin with. Like it's a hardcore band, but it's
Right.
like punky in production, and but the song structures are like all over the place. Like it's really wild stuff. And then like the story of them too, like they started in Greensboro and then the whole band moved to Sweden together. And just lived it. It's like, who does that?
It's wild, yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And it's so cool. Like I cannot Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, Zegota, one of the best bands from North Carolina.
Right, right. Catharsis. That's what. Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, that band's sick too. I haven't really listened to them in a long time, but
yeah, I love Catharsis. They put out a new record, like a surprise record last year, just out of nowhere. Like didn't announce it, it just dropped. Yeah, it was.
Oh shit, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah,
I know I'm
phenomenal. And they didn't miss a beat. I saw them play last October, I think. Really? Incredible band. What probably the best live band I've ever seen. Like just
what? Hell
phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Catharsis. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely love Catharsis, love Zegota, love that whole scene. Yeah, such cool stuff. That man, I immediately texted my friend. I was like, "Holy shit, we're gonna talk about Zegota!" Like, and I didn't pick it. Like, I'm not the one reason why we're talking about it.
Yeah, it's influenced me since then, honestly. And like so when I lived in Nashville too, it was also kind of like after a lot of those bands had broken up. There was still like a pretty recent influence. You know what I mean? Like the scene was barely there still. I mean, it was like I made a band, and there was like 2 other bands in Nashville. You know, like like it was kind of like, but there was still like people hanging out that like had all this like great suggestions for music and stuff of their friends' bands and stuff like that, or like someone would come to their show and they'd be like, "Oh, that's so and so from this band," you know. So that's kind of how I found them, and like ever since I heard that record, it's just been like something I keep coming back to. You know, like I never get to a point where I'm sick of it. As soon as I put it on, I'm fucking amped.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good record. All right. Well, let's. Who wants to go with our last pick? I guess we've just kind of been going in the same pattern the whole time. So whoever, I guess, Chris, if you want to go ahead and wrap this one up.
Yeah, I can talk about my last one. My last record is Our First American Friends from Tubelord.
Jumbles and the charter games you're after, jumping through the magic, catch your lost in hooks on fire, and body out to jumbles and the charter games you're after, jumping through the magic, catch your lost in hooks on fire, the winter's one with tricks for out, you'll never be the winner, as long as you broke the fingers crossed and silent night, sleeping away my life. I never thought you chose mine, but silent night, sleeping away my life. I never thought you chose mine, but silent night, sleeping away
mine. And yeah, this is my like real like esoteric secret pick. I love Tubelord so very much. Like really short-lived like British band from like 10 years or so. They were part of the whole like real like angular mathy pop Dan Aykroyd and like that kind of Johnny Foreigner and Los Camp, the early Los Camp stuff. I've talked a bunch with like my records about stuff that helped me kind of like open up my musical tastes more. I was pretty rigid. I had a lot of problems with like toxic masculinity growing up in like suburban South Jersey and stuff, and like, friends and family and like the music scene around me and stuff. And Tubelord, I think, was kind of like the last hit of the battering ram to kind of like knock all this shit out of me. And it's just like, no, I love like ambient. I love Rilo Kiley. I love old, sad country music. I just want to listen to like what I want to listen to, and I think it'll make me a more interesting person and a better musician to kind of like allow this stuff in. And Tubelord was really, really jarring to me in terms of just like the like super, super clean, high-pitched vocals and like twinkly guitars and pretty parts. There's still just enough kind of like grit and edge on it, and like these like really funny little like breakdowns even. But it's such a like kind-spirited band, and it just really, really helped kind of like kill the last of like the toxic masculinity and like expectations that I was putting forward. That like when people would kind of see me and interact with me like as a musician or whatever, that like, oh yeah, well like they're super hardcore. They listen to this, and yeah, they're right in the front at the Converge show, and they're the one beating people up in behemoth long sleeves, you know. Like, and like Tubelord just really helped kill that, and I love that record so much. I listen to it really, really frequently still all the time. I think that Tubelord was a really amazing band in terms of like aesthetics and attention to detail, and like they were short lived, but I feel like they were like I also kind of like caught them vicariously as this like small DIY British band that I was observing from afar. Like it kind of helped me like understand like what DI was in a different way. Instead of just like talking to my friends and stuff, I was like witnessing this like tiny thing happening on the other side of the world, and it like put it into perspective of just like this is happening all over the world. There are like these tiny little bands with ideas and their local scenes, and they're just playing like bars and like I don't know, like, and just further like really, really cementing this idea once again that like you can make the exact music that you want to make, which is kind of another through line of my albums of like, just because you're a hardcore kid doesn't mean you have to be in a hardcore band. And yeah, Tubelord, I love them forever for that, for helping me see that like it's so much cooler if you like Nintendo keyboards and pop punk songs and weird old country stuff. It's just going to make you more interesting and more open. And I have to thank them.
This was a huge surprise for me. When I didn't know the band at all, and I was like, okay, English band. I was looking at their Discogs right before I listened to it. I was like, interesting. I wonder what this is going to sound like. And I was kind of blown away by it. Like, I really, really liked this record.
It's really good. It's really good.
It's a great album. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, what? This is another band, kind of like yours, where it's kind of hard to pin down exactly what it even is. Like, you're right, there's that angularity, similar to what was going on in the UK scene at the time, but also I feel like there's a lot of emo in there, more, it kind of predates some of the emo revival stuff, too, by a few years, but it kind of taps into that literally taps into some of that. Pun not intended. I did not mean that, but but it kind of reminded me of that too, and it was just like a really cool sound, and I really dug it, and I really want to hear the next record too, because I didn't check anything else out, but I want to know more for sure about this band, because I love a band that like people don't know too. Like, I mean, not to be like, not in a way of like I know something you don't know. No, it's just like, there's so many bands out there, and I want to know as many as I possibly can, and it's so cool to. I'm glad you showed this to me, because I was not familiar at all, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be listening to more of this for sure. Let's see, Catherine, you want to do your last pick?
Yeah, my last pick is "Fire Is Beautiful" by Stars Don't Mean Anything. A big reason I wanted to talk about this record it was one of my favorite records that came out just last year. I could have picked this or, a couple others technically, but it was a reminder of a record that, like, oh, new things for me that click really, really hard. Like, I find new favorites of records just every other year of something coming out that, like, whoa, this blows my mind. This is this, like, absolutely, like, relentless, noisy screamo record, banned mostly in California. I guess they live in, like, 4 different states, but we've played with them, we liked them, and, like, I remember playing with them the first time, like, being blown away. The next time I saw them, they came through, and I bought this live tape they had that was this whole record minus the last song, but a previous song. It was like a live set. And I remember messaging them and asking, like, this is the new record? This is, like, really, really good. I'm so stoked. Like, this is what the album is going to be like. And I am. I'm so stoked about it. It's an angry and sad record, like, about, like, environmental collapse and, like, anti-capitalism and, like, everything tearing apart. And I think it makes so many beautiful decisions. Like, I can't remember the song, but, like, I thought it was funny that there's this, like, and I don't know how intentional it is. I feel like it's intentional. I call it the Genova type ass beat, that they have a guitar part that sounds like the melody from Final Fantasy VII's Genova, but which is also a story about environmental collapse, which I find like a brilliant choice to motif given a record. And I've said this, and I don't know if I'm right or not, but I go, if that's an intentional thing you're slipping in there, it's like genius. If it's unintentional, cool anyway.
Yeah, right. Like an amazing coincidence, but yeah.
Yeah, amazing coincidence if not, but like, whoa, that's a really like cool thing to point to like sell the story that the entire record is about. Like, I love an album that thinks about that kind of stuff and like has like ties and motifs and is a big picture. Like, everything makes sense and it's moving parts, and it feels like that record does that into its aesthetics, its art, its titling, its motifs, its hard transitions between songs, which I'm a big fan of. I just think that they really made like a masterpiece of their genre, and it really impressed me.
Yeah, this one was another one. I didn't know it at all, and I was like, oh, a 2025 record. That's an interesting choice. So I was like, all right, let's see what this is. And my screamo listening has really waned over the years. I feel like there was a big wave of bands kind of doing very similar sounding things for a while, and I was always just kind of like, it's cool, but I wasn't coming back to it. Like, I would listen to it and be like, that's good, but then I wouldn't come back. And the ones that I do come back to now are the ones that are more challenging, like what a screamo band should sound like, or like bringing in other elements of.
That's the best thing. That's the best stuff, though. Is like, we don't need more of the same. Like, turn it a little bit. Like.
Yeah, like I follow Zegota Beach because they put out a lot of different kinds of screamo too, which I really find fun. And this one was another one of those records. I was like, thank you. This is not just your, here's your clean part. We're going to do a clean part for a really long time, and then like, oh, now we're going to explode in this. Like, oh, back to the soft clean parts. And it's just like, no, this is like hard. It's driving, which is the kind of screamo that I really enjoy. It's just that stuff that's just coming at you like really hard. Interesting kind of like interstitials between tracks. It kind of feels like one big song record, which are always interesting too. It's a very cool kind of screamo record. I followed them on Bandcamp like right away because very cool stuff. And Kai, your final pick.
My final pick is self-titled by And So I Watch You From Afar. This is a record that I don't know that well, right? I just found it this year, but I really fuck with it. Like, it it rules. In the last couple of years, I've always had this like sort of parallel musical interest of post rock that like gets deeper and deeper. And this like last year, it kind of like exploded. I found like a ton of bands at once, and so I kind of wanted to pick something that like, sort of reflects that for me. I mean, in my top 3 favorite bands of all time is Godspeed, You Black Emperor, and like I've got tattoos from them and stuff. Their political philosophy and the way that they make stuff that reflects social struggle and stuff like that kind of launched me from a pretty young age into post rock. But I really like what this band is doing. They're like a Belfast band. It's been around a long time. There's a lot of post rock that's like twinkly and pretty and then has this low crescendo, and a lot of it kind of sounds the same, a lot of it I don't like that much, and this band does not do that. This band is like heavy out the gate. I mean, their single set Guitars to Kill is just instantly like, like you're like, what the fuck is this? And it is post rock, like throughout the album, like it goes into pretty twinkly parts. It goes into like weird experimental stuff, but they're like always coming back, like just hitting really hard. And like that's kind of the post rock I've been getting into this year, is stuff that is like really interesting and dynamic, that's different, that has like synthesizers involved and like really heavy stuff involved, and like has a payoff, has like different thematic elements that are like kind of outside of what you expect of the genre, So yeah, I mean, it's been really influential on me and my drumming too, and like what I've been like, because I mean, a lot of post rock drummers are like way better than me, like really good. And so I listen to them, like, there's like an orchestral influence, or like they're classically trained, or something else is going on, and I'm like listening to that stuff and trying to pull from it and like learn stuff from it, and thinking about like dynamics more in terms of like quietness and loudness over the course of a song, and like I don't know, just there's just a lot to learn there from the genre, in my opinion, and also just conceptually, like the way the post-rock bands will make like an album, a concept album, or a huge motif, or something like, so, and I love that, and I do that.
This was a band that I knew the name, like I'd recognized it, but I don't think I knew a single thing about it. Like it was just a name I'd seen, and it wasn't even one that like I didn't even know it was instrumental until I went to the Discog bio, and I was like, oh, okay, instrumental band, surprising. All right, I don't listen to a ton of instrumental. I was definitely gonna listen and open, with an open mind, and I was really impressed with their choice to not be that same kind of post rock band that you were talking about, because like yeah, I mean, once like Mogwai and Explosions in the Sky became like massive, it was just like, oh, everybody's doing that kind of thing,
exactly, right? Yeah.
And that stuff's cool, like, and those bands were great, but like, I don't only want that kind of instrumental music, and I don't listen to a ton of it to begin with, so because so much of it is like that. Right. But this was fun and different in a way that I didn't expect.
Yeah,
and it
really dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah, super dynamic, just different sounds. Like you don't hear guitars like that on a lot of like post rock albums either. Like they're a lot thicker. They're a lot more. I'm sure there's like a billion effect pedals that they're using on this record, but but it was like, it's very different, and I was really happy to see that, because it's like, oh yeah, I loved the band Red Sparrows, and they were great, but they were also kind of doing the same thing, the twinkly pretty sort of thing, and yeah, so I was very impressed with like how different and special this was, and I didn't really look too much into the rest of their catalog. I think they have some more records too out there. I should probably check out.
Put one out last year or something, Megaphon, and that record is great too. I could have talked about that one, but this other one is kind of like a little more stripped down and like really to the point of what I wanted to talk about in terms of post rock. Yeah,
it really is like the textures and just like the tones that really make this a special post rock record. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Well, I think we did it. I think that's everything. We've covered all 9 records, and it did not take us 3 hours to do. So that is that's impressive. I wanted to thank you, all 3 of you, for doing the show. I really appreciate it. I think everyone listening should go check you out live when they get a chance. I'm hoping that you will come close enough to me one day that I can see you live as well.
Hopefully next year. That's the game plan. East Coast proper next year.
Yeah.
I don't know when, awesome. But we want to.
I'm looking forward to it.
We want to.
We're making vague promises.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you could get booked on like the Fest in Gainesville. I feel like you would fit in really well there sonically with what's going on there. And then
That would be sick.
That would be cool.
yeah.
And the
Yeah,
snowball
so
has been pushed down the hill.
let's start a whisper campaign to get you on next year's lineup.
Yeah. The thing is, if we have to ask, I don't think it happens. If other people ask for us, it might happen.
You should really have this band on. They're really great. Yeah, I'm really hoping I get to see you one day. I'm looking forward to what you have on the horizon, what you are going to do going forward, because I see a lot of promise in this band. I think you have a ton of potential to really, really take off really in a great way. So I'm rooting for you. I'm excited. I'm a fan. I'm following you. I will continue following you. Yeah, this was great. I appreciate you for being here and talking with me. Yeah, this is really fun. Thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah, it was really
Great.
fun. Thank you.
very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. I appreciate
Great
it.
to
It was
meet you.
actually a lot of fun to talk about all those records.
So many different kinds of records too, which was really cool too. You know, you didn't pick just like, oh, we all chose the same 5 type of screamo.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
9 Converge records.
Now I can do 9 Converge records. They did 2 this year, so
It's really just about a list of what our least favorite Converge records are.
well, awesome. Anything you want to plug specifically? Where should we follow you? Where should we buy records? That kind of fun stuff.
All of our stuff's on Bandcamp. We put all of our shows up on there so you can keep up with us. We sell all of our merch and physicals through there. Like, keep up with us through there. We post about stuff on, like, Instagram, but everything really goes to our Bandcamp. Like, anything we're doing actually ends up there.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to include links to that in the show notes as well. All right. Well, I think that will do it. So I appreciate you again for doing the show and looking forward to hearing more in the future from you.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you.
To order Forever Young by credit card or COD, call now